Wait, I've only shared half of the carnivore truth. The next 5 secrets are what separate those who quit after 3 months and from those who thrive for years. Most carnivore resources completely miss these practical elements, but they've made all the difference for my hundreds of clinical patients. So let me show you how to move from just surviving on carnivore to truly thriving long term. Here's something crucial that most carnivore resources completely miss: the optimal protein to fat ratio. This isn't one size fits all, and finding your personal sweet spot can actually make or break your success. 3 distinct metabolic types on carnivore. Type 1, fat efficient metabolizers, 30% protein, 70% fat, are naturally lean with higher metabolisms and athletic backgrounds who experience energy crashes with excess protein but achieve better satiety with fattier cuts like ribeye, lamb, and salmon belly. Their most common pitfall is choosing overly lean protein sources like chicken breast or lean steak. Type 2 balanced metabolizers, 45% protein, 55% fat, typically have average builds with moderate activity levels and no extreme metabolic history. Maintain consistent energy with mixed cuts while needing both protein and fat for satiety. Thrive on foods like chuck roast, whole eggs, 80-20 ground beef, and skin-on salmon, but often make the mistake of consuming too much rendered fat, which leads to digestive issues. Type 3 protein efficient metabolizers, 60% protein, 40% fat, typically have a history of insulin with significant weight to lose and lower activity levels. Achieve better satiety with leaner cuts while experiencing digestive issues with high fat intake, and do best with foods like sirloin, brisket, whitefish, chicken thighs, and turkey, but commonly make the mistake of not consuming enough fat, which can put excess stress on their kidney. Here's the fascinating part: your optimal ratio can change over time. As your metabolic health improves, many type 3s gradually shift toward type 2. I started as a distinct type 3, and after about 2 years found myself thriving as type 2. The transition tip I give all my patients: track your metrics weekly and adjust based on energy, digestion, and satiety, not just weight loss. This dynamic approach is what separates long-term success from those who abandon carnivore prematurely. We covered magnesium extensively, but let's expand our electrolyte discussion because imbalances are the #1 reason people struggle unnecessarily on carnivore. On carnivore, you need more sodium, not less, because when insulin levels drop, your kidneys excrete sodium more efficiently, leading to keto-flu symptoms like headaches and fatigue if intake is inadequate. My protocol recommends 5 to 7 grams sodium daily, 2 to 3 teaspoons of salt, front-loaded in the morning, with increases during exercise, heat exposure, or stress periods to maintain optimal electrolyte balance. Potassium works in balance with sodium through the sodium-potassium pump, with meat providing substantial amount, 300 to 400 milligrams per 100 grams in red meat. Thought your cooking method significantly impacts availability. So slow cooking preserves up to 90%, while high heat methods can actually destroy up to 40%. So watch for signs of imbalance, including muscle twitches, irregular heartbeat, and constant thirst, which indicate your electrolyte balance needs attention. So while conventional wisdom claims you need dairy for calcium, bone-in cuts and small fish with bones like sardines provide highly bioavailable calcium that's better utilized on a carnivore diet. Your calcium requirements actually decrease on carnivore due to reduced calcium excretion from eliminating oxalates and phytates. So improved vitamin D status enhancing absorption and optimal protein intake, naturally supporting bone mineral density. And my clinical approach includes a comprehensive electrolyte panel every 3 months for the first year. The patterns we see are remarkably consistent. Initial disruption followed by optimization, often superior to pre-carnivore levels. Don't underestimate the power of proper electrolyte management. It's the difference between suffering through adaptation and thriving from day one. The standard carnivore approach works for many, but certain health conditions benefit from target modifications. Let me share the specialized protocols I've developed for specific conditions. For autoimmune conditions, I recommend a specialized carnivore approach. Eliminate eggs and dairy completely for 90+ days. Prioritize ruminant meats over poultry and pork. Include 2 to 3 weekly servings of organ meats and implement 16 to 8 intermittent fasting schedule. This protocol delivers remarkable results, as evidenced by my patient Sarah, whose Hashimoto's antibodies dropped 82% in 6 months, alongside major improvements in joint pain and skin conditions that serve as key markers of success. My gut healing carnivore protocol begins with gentle, slow-cooked, shredded meats for the first 30 days, daily homemade bone broth, and careful introduction of rendered fats starting with just 1 teaspoon, gradually adding glycine-rich cuts like tendon and oxtail while supporting digestion with specific enzymes for the first 90 days. The results can be life-changing, as with my patient who became completely symptom-free after 15-year IBS diagnosis in just 60 days, with normalization of bowel movements, elimination of bloating, and dramatically improved nutrient absorption. The metabolic recovery carnivore protocol begins with a higher protein ratio of 1.5 grams per kilogram of ideal body weight, strict meal timing with 3 meals spaced 5 hours apart without snacking, and front loading 40% of daily protein at breakfast within a limited 10-hour eating window. After the first 60 days, adding a weekly 24-hour fast accelerates results, as demonstrated by my type 2 diabetic patient who reduced insulin needs by 85% in just 120 days while achieving significant HbA1c reduction, improved insulin sensitivity, and remarkably stable energy levels. For hormonal optimization, my hormonal balancing carnivore protocol emphasizes higher saturated fat, 65 to 70% of calories, daily consumption of cholesterol-rich foods like egg yolks and liver, and gender-specific protocols that sometimes include strategic carb cycling with honey for female patients. Now, this approach delivers powerful results, as seen with my female patient who completely reversed her PCOS symptoms after 9 months, alongside normalized productive hormones, improved libido, and significant energy enhancement that marks successful hormonal rebalancing. These variations aren't just theoretical, they're based on clinical results with hundreds of patients. The key is matching the right carnivore variation to your specific health challenge. One of the biggest challenges with carnivore isn't the diet itself, it's navigating social situations. Let me share my battle-tested strategies after a decade of carnivore living. When dining out, call ahead to understand cooking methods and avoid seed oils, request butter only for steaks, and no marinade for proteins. Keeping order simple with steak, boneless burgers, or grilled fish with butter. High-end steakhouse are typically most accommodating. Remember, most places will make a burger bowl with all toppings and a bowl without the bun if you ask. Navigate family gatherings by offering to bring a carnivore-friendly main dish to share, eating a small meal beforehand, focusing on connection rather than food, and sometimes using intermittent fasting for particularly challenging events. Prepare concise, confident responses for the inevitable questions about your diet to avoid lengthy debates during social occasions. Make travel manageable by booking accommodations with kitchenettes when possible, pre-cooking and vacuum sealing meats for road trips, researching local butcher shops in advance, and keeping emergency options like rotisserie chicken, canned fish, and hard-boiled eggs on hand. For international travel, learn meat-related phrases in the local language to communicate your needs effectively. Handle work situations by meal prepping in bulk on Sundays, investing in quality food storage containers, keeping emergency protein options in your desk or locker, practicing simple explanations for curious coworkers, and researching carnivore-friendly options at nearby restaurants. This preparation removes workplace barriers that might otherwise derail your dietary commitment. The social aspect of carnivore living is rarely discussed but critically important for long-term success. So remember, this is a lifestyle, not just a diet, and mastering these social situations removes one of the biggest barriers to sustainability. I can't conclude without addressing the elephant in the room: the environmental and ethical considerations of a meat-based diet. Rather than avoiding this topic, let's tackle it head-on with data, not dogma. Properly managed cattle operations can actually sequester carbon in soil while utilizing land unsuitable for crops that would otherwise remain unproductive. Rotational grazing mimics natural patterns, improves soil health, and studies show well-managed grazing can offset 100 to 115% of emissions, which is why I recommend sourcing from regenerative farms whenever it's possible. The frequently cited water statistics for meat production misleadingly include rainwater that would fall regardless, and when comparing only irrigation water, many vegetables actually require more water per calorie than grass-fed meat. Conventional agriculture's significant water pollution impact is rarely discussed in these comparisons, and unlike carbon, water isn't used up but rather cycles through systems. All eating inherently involves life and death decisions, including crop agricultures, which result in numerous animal deaths through pest control and harvesting. Rather than binary ethical positions, focus on animal welfare and supporting farms with high standards, as this creates market demand for better practices industry-wide. Individual health cannot be sacrificed for environmental idealism, and ultimately the most sustainable diet is one that keeps you out of hospitals and off medications. Practical compromise approaches include nose-to-tail eating to reduce waste and supporting better farming practices, which is why I prioritize regeneratively raised animals, practice zero food waste, and support local producers who align with these values. This isn't about winning an argument, it's about making informed decisions that balance personal health with broader impacts. Perfect solutions don't exist, but thoughtful approaches do. I encourage everyone to research beyond headlines and consider the nuanced realities of food production systems. As we wrap up this extended discussion on the carnivore diet, remember that this approach isn't about dogma, it's about results. The decade of data I've shared today represents not just my journey, but the collective experience of hundreds of patients who've transformed their... The most powerful aspect of carnivore isn't just about what you add, quality animal foods, but what you eliminate, the inflammatory compounds, anti-nutrients, and processed chemicals that dominate modern diets. So whether you choose to implement a full carnivore approach or simply increase your animal food consumption while reducing plant toxins, the principles we've discussed apply. So start where you are, track your results objectively, and let your body's response guide your journey. The carnivore diet isn't destroying your health when implemented correctly. It's likely restoring the metabolic function that modern diets have disrupted. The ancestral lens through which we've examined nutrition today isn't about moving backward. It's about reclaiming the health that is your birthright. I invite you to comment below with your questions and experiences. This community grows stronger through shared knowledge, and your journey matters. Until next time, prioritize protein, manage your electrolytes, and trust the process.